Good evening and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners, September 24th, 2019, 5:30 public hearings. May I ask everyone to please stand so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. So let the record reflect that all three Board of County Commissioners are here present at tonight's hearing. I'd also like to begin with, some of the ground rules, just to ask you to please turn down your cell phones on to vibrate or to do not disturb. And then if anyone wishes to speak that at tonight's event, that you fill out a yellow form and turn that in. And with that, everyone's limited to 3 minutes, and I will have Commissioner French, if he's willing to, be my timer. So once your 3 minutes is up, then that's over. So we'll start with the first of our two open public forums. And so I'll open up. I will open up the first public forum for anyone who's wishing to testify, and I do have someone who has signed up, Angela Weaver. And this is testifying on anything that's not on our agenda. And then can I have you please state your name and address for the record?
Angela Weaver, and my address is 41611 North Newport Highway, Elk, Washington, 99009.
Thank you.
Can you start now?
Yep.
I'm just here tonight to voice my support for Spokane County Raceway. I know it's up for review for their lease coming up, and a lot of us are just really ingrained out there, and there's a lot of my friends that go out there. I travel and race, but they can't, and we really need to keep it open. And also, it's a winter recreational activity. I wanted to point that out. And we've been having winter rallies out there, so people come out with their Subarus and whatnot. Keeps them from doing reckless things on the roads. They can come out, pay whatever, have a blast out there, and they've loved it. So we've done that in the winter. And then the road course, like my husband and I bought a new Corvette, and within a month, we took it out there. It's way more powerful than you could ever use on the roads, but we learned to drive it out there, high-performance driver's education, and things like that are invaluable to the county, to the area. Brings a lot of people in, brings a lot of money in, people coming to visit, to race, stay for the weekend. Some stay for the next week. We do that often. We go to places and we stay for 2 weeks and race. And then there's my friends, like people over here that are race shops or hot rod shops, and if the track goes away, very good chance that it'll really cut into their bottom line too. So I'm just here voicing support for that. And I also had a question. I don't know if you answered a question, but I couldn't tell online, but if there would be a chance to speak at the October 9th meeting at the Parks and Recs Commission thing, or if that's something I find out somewhere else.
Mr. Gimmel?
I'll leave a card. You can call me and I'll get back with you. I think they do have a public forum at the Parks Board meeting, but we'll make sure and I'll get in contact with you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Would anyone, second call for anyone wanting to testify? I see some other people with yellow slips out there. Thank you. So, Rodney?
Yes.
And how do you pronounce your last name?
Nomi.
Nomi. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Rodney Nomi, 5382 North LeClaire, Usk, Washington, 99180.
Thank you.
Well, it's been rezoned, so it's actually Kuzak 99119 now.
Okay, thank you.
I am also here in support of wanting the commissioners to, hopefully we can keep the Spokane County Raceway a racing venue because of a lot of, as my friend Angie pointed out, there's a lot of people who have nowhere else to go. I don't know if you've all been can see the email that I sent, but I believe it can be a viable business that generates enough income to be self-sustaining if properly managed. I, along with many other racers, can benefit from having a racing venue closer to home than having to travel 194 miles to Walla Walla or 257 miles to Renegade Raceway in Wapato when we have a well-designed facility 52 miles from my home. My wife and I both race, and several students race along with some of that do the road course. I have been the sponsor of the high school bracket for the past 3 years and have my own team of high schoolers who work on cars and go drag race with the hopes that they won't go street racing and hurt or kill themselves or others. 7 of my former students have gone on to careers in the automotive fabrication, welding, mechanic industry. If the track in Airway Heights was to be turned into something else, I'm sure my program would die. The city of Spokane would see a rise in street racing related accidents, and several local shops would potentially lose or even go out of business because with lack of racing interest, they'd have no customer base. Specialty engine builders, transmission shops, chassis builders. The automotive aftermarket parts giant Summit Racing sponsors a racing series for racers across the country. We just returned from a race called the ET Finals held in Seattle. We are in Division 6, which consists of 17 tracks across Washington, Idaho, Oregon, Western Canada, and into Montana. That race travels from year to year. Next year, it is scheduled to be in Spokane. Influx of 600 plus racers from all over the Northwest would benefit all business in the greater Spokane area, much like Bloomsday Hoop Fest has for many years. True, it would only be for the 1 year, but it might potentially encourage more young people to go out and get involved in organized racing, which turn them into patrons of Spokane County Raceway and keeps them off division where the potential for disastrous results of racing is. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is going to be my third and final call for anyone wishing to testify in this public hearing at this point in time. There will be another open public forum at the end. So this is your, so seeing no one at this point want to come up, I'm going to close this public hearing. And then Mr. Monty, you're going to come up to, so we have a hearing item that we're going to have in the matter of adopting, item number 4 on tonight's agenda, in the matter of adopting a county ordinance related to regulation of small cell deployments in county right-of-ways. Monty Chamberlain.
Good evening, Commissioners. Monty Chamberlain with Public Works Department, and we're here to talk about the permanent ordinance for regulating small cell deployment in the public rights-of-way of unincorporated Spokane County. And the board has been briefed on this and had a public hearing on it when we went through the interim ordinance, which the history of how we got here is that we put in place an emergency ordinance because the rules were changed by the FCC, and we reacted to that and put in an emergency ordinance, and we had a public hearing on that interim ordinance, which is in place for 6 months, which runs through September 26th, which hence brings us here tonight for consideration of the permanent ordinance, the language of which is unchanged from the temporary ordinance. So the major components of the permanent ordinance, it contains controls for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the county and the traveling public. It will be located in Section 9556 of Spokane County Code. It lays out, the various laws and the processes that apply, like they need a valid franchise. There are shot clocks that apply, and we define what a complete application is. So the process hopefully gets really well organized and controlled. And we also adopted the safe harbor fees that the federal code allowed. Some of the more elements of it is design and concealment. We went co-location unless it's infeasible. New poles, it has to be integrated into the pole design unless it's infeasible. Painted a color to match the pole, and there's height restrictions and spacing restrictions, all intended to allow it to happen, but to protect the right of way and the traveling public. That's the end of my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Okay, thank you very much for that. So this is a public hearing item, and so I will open up the public hearing for anyone wishing to testify on item number 4. Second call for anyone wishing to testify on item number 4. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify on item number 4, and that will close the public hearing on that item, and I will look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I would move that we accept the recommendation of staff and approve the adoption of county ordinance related to regulation of small cell deployments in county right-of-ways as presented tonight.
I will second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Chamberlain. So that leads us to item number 5 on tonight's agenda, which is our last and final open public forum. So anyone wishing to testify again, fill out a yellow slip. So I'll open up the public hearing for anyone wishing to testify.
Madam Chair, there's a gentleman out there, I think, trying to fill out his form.
Oh, you can come up
You can come up and do it later
and then do
if
it
you
after.
want. Pardon me?
I don't know.
There you go.
Can I have you state your name and address for the record? And then it's limited to 3 minutes, just so.
And my name is Keith Butler, 14304 North Rockwood Court, Rathdrum, Idaho. So I just want to touch base with the situation on the racetrack, the Spokane County Raceway. Obviously, I came from a different state to talk to you guys tonight. We drive over every time we have a race. We spend money in Airway Heights, spend money in the county. I just trying to find out, are we going to have a racetrack for next year? Are we not? So we can plan on, for those of us that don't have a lot of a budget, we need to plan on what we got going on for the next year. We utilize, like I said, we come over, we spend our money over here, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month. I would hate to see the racetrack go anywhere. I don't know what the situation is. I do know that it's up for debate at this point in time. I would hope that, there's enough interest. There's other people in the audience that are also racers like myself that, would love to see our track stay here. I think it's a viable, deal in the community. I don't know if you guys have been out to the track recently, but we had a couple hundred cars out there this weekend at least. Tons of people enjoying the facility. And I just really hate to see the facility go away if there's people that want to take it over. I don't know what the county's position is. I don't live in the state, obviously. So I basically came here tonight to try to get some answers to find out, what do we have going on? Do we have to travel out of town to race, or are we going to be able to race in our own, backyard? So that's what I, came to talk to you tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you just want to finish filling that out and hand it off, that'll be good. So that's not on our agenda tonight, so we won't be discussing it. But we are taking all the inputs. So I'm going to say, I don't know if I said second call for anyone wishing to testify at the open public hearing. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify at tonight's open public forum. And that will conclude our open public forum for tonight. And that concludes then our meeting for tonight. So thank you all very much for coming down. We appreciate hearing from you. And have a nice evening.